Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in today on a Saturday morning. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Vishal, your host for today's session. Uh, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'm very excited for a brand new informative session of the Masterclass series organized by the Institute of Product Leadership. Now, before we begin today's insightful session, I would like to give a quick introduction to the Institute. The Institute of Product Leadership is Asia's first business school, providing accredited degree programs and certification courses in product management and product leadership. And the Institute has partnered with multiple universities. It was founded in the year 2012 with a singular mission of creating 10,000 product leaders in this country. And ever since, the organization has designed and delivered programs in collaboration with various institutes, universities, and corporates to the senior working professionals to help them make career transitioning into product leadership. The Institute has built and developed a community of over more than 4,500 plus successful alumni, leading the product data and design teams across the world with close to more than 600 plus companies. You can find more about the institutes and the programs offered on our website. I'm quickly pasting the link in the chat box. Just give me a moment. Well, today's session is on product vision to execution, road mappings, and metrics in action. Now, once our speaker for today's present his insights, we will open up for questions. Please keep your questions ready. You can also post your questions on Zoom in the Q&A section. Take advantage of the other opportunity, folks. Engage with our team speakers with some good and intriguing questions. All right then, folks, without any delay, let me kickstart this session by welcoming and introducing today's speaker. Anand Shrivastava, lovely to have you over here, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey, morning to you too, man. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, a quick introduction. So Anand Shrivastava is a passionate product leader with over 20 years of experience in building and launching technology products that drive real impact. He has helped to grow multiple product to multi-million dollar revenues, led cross-functional teams, and navigated complex challenges to deliver results. I enjoys bringing people together, fostering innovations, and creating products that truly make a difference. And has expertise in product management, marketing, AI/ML, cloud, SaaS, and agile methodologies. Again, a very warm welcome to you, Anand, and I'm excited to have you here with us today.
Hey, thanks, Vishal. I'm excited too. I mean, it's a good thing to have so many people on a Saturday morning over here listening to us. I think it talks a lot about how much people are keen to understand what product management is and what aspects of product management make them successful. So I think with that, I hope all of you have some great coffee or tea or your poison, which will make you all wakened up, right? Because we're going to have a very interactive session, even though I cannot see you. But please be, very, very engaged in this discussion. This is not a monologue, right? It is a multi-log. All of you, Ashish, PT App, Devalakshmi, Divya, Ipshita, Joel, Kumar, M, Manta, Pranav, Praveen, Rashmi, Rishabh, Shetu, Shakuntala, Shiva, Sneha, Sumant. I want each of you to be present and let's create a chatter that helps us know that you are there, you're listening, you're learning as we go forward, right? So what I'll do is we have structured the whole discussion into where I'll kind of give you some insights around what road mapping is, what metrics is. Incidentally, we're not going to pick up prioritization today. That maybe we can do some other day, but it'll give you a good understanding of what it is. If you have questions, please raise. And then we're going to go through a case study so you can take whatever you've understood and put it into practice. So it kind of burns in your mind, right? So you know at the end of this how to use what you have gained knowledge here. All great. Can I have some good thumbs ups here? I think you guys can share some remarks. Let's see. Vishal, are you getting any remarks? Are you getting any, um, like
Uh,
something?
I am not getting anything, Anand, actually. Okay, people have started responding on chat, actually.
Oh, that's nice. I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So what we'll do is, Vishal, do you want to run the poll now or
Yeah,
how?
absolutely. I was waiting for the go ahead. So, fellows, I'm quickly launching a poll just to understand, you know, the demographics as well as few of the things. As you can see on the screen, let me know if you are able to view it on the screen.
Yeah, Divya, Pranav, everyone saying the thumbs up they can. So you guys
Okay.
can use the Q&A to ask questions, and for any comments or something, you can use the chat so we can, manage both areas.
Requesting you all to please take participation in the poll just for the speaker understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, it would take you more than like 2-3 minutes to do that. Let's get started. We don't even have a single one of you responding. Are you guys able to access it? Okay, Rishabh says yes. I guess we shared this poll with you guys yesterday. Some of you only replied. I think we had five responses. So it'd be good if you guys can go through it.
Okay, few people, I think that there is one. Okay, Rishabh has asked it is lengthy. Well, I understand that Rishabh, it is lengthy, but I believe that it won't take, more than a minute for you also to, to fill the same. Rishabh, you can just do that.
Now we have.
Okay, now we have started getting, okay, go. Yeah, yeah. Great. Folks, you're waiting for another one more minute. Already 2 minutes have gone. Okay, nice. I'm able to see getting the numbers increased. Okay, six of out of 24 people have already participated. Requesting the other folks also to take a participation in this. Guys, I insist. Thank you.
You should have removed the name part, Vishal. That is.
Yeah. We'll wait for another 30 seconds, guys. It's already 3:30. We'll wait for another 30 seconds more. 9 people. Nice. Anand, should I go ahead and end the poll right now, or we'll wait for a few more seconds if you suggest?
Let's wait for like a minute, maybe.
A minute. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Let's kind of have everyone. We have about 50% participation by now. I guess we have some good understanding of, at least I have some good understanding of where you guys are. I can see some clarity and some confusion. I see that most of the people understand why it is important to combine quantitative and qualitative metrics when evaluating product success. That tells me that I can not visit that piece of information. It looks like people understand that. I guess people don't understand leading indicators. That is a point that we'll talk about. Great. Leading and lagging. Metric and action. Decent clarity, some confusion. Yeah, I guess just going through the list. Yeah, I guess roadmap, why it is needed. Okay, what types of frameworks? Okay, good. I think we are in good shape, right? So Vishal, we can end the poll now. I guess we
Sure,
have decent participation, and I've
sure.
kind of got what is
Anand, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm also sharing the result. Is it fine for you?
yeah, absolutely.
So that everyone can see actually.
Yeah. Okay, as you share, let me get started with the deck. I guess it's important that we start the discussion. And now comes the interesting piece. Great. Hopefully you guys can see my deck. If all of you can. Vishal, can you confirm that you can see it?
Sure, it's done.
Okay, wonderful. So let's get started, guys. And again, a very good morning, full of energy. Let's get going. Okay. So what is a roadmap? Right? What is a roadmap? Let's answer that. It's a tool. It's a visual tool. It means you can see it to show how your vision as a product manager, your vision about the product, about the business, and the market objectives it wants to realize over time, right? That is a roadmap. Any confusions? Anyone has an objection to this definition? No? Okay. So what we need to stress upon, it is a visual tool, right? So you can see it. It capsulates what your product vision is to capture the business and market objectives. So there's a vision, there's an objective that you want to achieve through a tool for a given period of time, right? So you realize it. Let's get forward from there. So arriving at the roadmap, right? Now, there's a very longish process to do that. Okay. This is like bringing it all together in a succinct way that helps you understand in a very easy way what it tries to do. So how do you arrive at it? You look at your corporate goals, mostly. If it is a startup, your founder's goals, and then use those goals to look at your product and say, how can my product achieve those goals? And what I need to build to achieve those goals. So it always starts from a strategic outlook, and then it translates into an execution. Your work is to go out in the world and find out what customer pain areas, gaps, and asks are, what market we are trying to go and attack on, to create those set of requirements, then go again and validate if those are the right requirements with another set of market as a sample, then prioritize it based on what the market needs right now versus far out. And then negotiate with your stakeholders to ensure that they are aligned with your thinking to execute and deliver it. Fair enough? Again, if you have questions, if you have any thoughts, please keep putting it in the chat. If you have confusion anything on anything, let's have the chatter going. So let's move forward and look at what is the various attributes of a roadmap. Now you see, I've written strategic roadmap. Why not just a roadmap? Well, a strategic roadmap is a roadmap that is a living, breathing entity. It's not like you made it once, then you forgot about it. It takes the outlook of the market on a regular basis, and it evolves if need be, if the market conditions change. I'll give you guys an amazing example. In 2019, when product managers were putting roadmaps, they did not know that pandemic would hit and everyone will be working from home. Therefore, when this situation came around, people had to change their strategies of how they do business. And product managers had to adopt to that changing behavior so that they can address the products to reach out to folks who are not mobile now, right? A lot of rapid commerce, a lot of sitting at home and collaborating, like the tool we're using right now, came to the forefront, and they created opportunities within these organizations to grab and go forward with. So you see, there was a pivotal moment that a macroeconomic condition or a macro geopolitical situation or a macro health situation brought in. And therefore, be it a huge event or a small event, which is very, very specific to your industry, your company, or your customer segment, you need to be looking at it and evolving the roadmap as you go forward. So let's go through the bullets. Roadmap is a guiding strategic document and a plan for executing the product strategy, right? So you have a product strategy. Like, I want to ensure that we are going to make the most user-friendly, rapid delivery product such that we are able to grab a majority portion of the market share, right? Understand that as you are building this product, you are saying that people who go out to buy vegetables, or there are other sources to get vegetables, you're going to remove all of that and get in and take a majority share. And that is the vision. And then you come down to strategy. What are you going to do this year? And then look at how you're going to translate it into a very, very user-friendly app, if you're building an app. And then you would evaluate quarter over quarter, month over month, week over week, what is happening in the market. Have your users started adopting it or not? Has another similar company come in the market providing similar product? Have the suppliers changed their behavior in which they engage? Has the grocer, the green grocer, or the grocer which is sitting outside your house, has done something smart which is attracting people or not attracting people? All that are the parameters you are playing with as you are building and executing your product strategy. Let's look at the second bullet. Open and shared for company-wide discussion about what is being built, for whom, and why. Remember one thing, as a product manager, your job is not to think about the how. Your job is to think very clearly about why you're trying to solve the problem. Or first of all, what is the problem? Why you're trying to solve the problem, and what you're going to do to solve that problem. And you're solving for who all, right? So if those 4 or 5 things are very clear for who you're solving the problem, why you're solving the problem, and what you're doing to solve that problem, that is what a product roadmap should look at. And then it needs to be socialized across the organization. As we go forward, you will see that roadmaps are not, like one version. You will have multiple versions of the roadmap depending on who you are talking to. There will be a roadmap for your engineering. There would be a roadmap for your stakeholders, like your marketing, your sales, your professional services. And then there will be a roadmap that you would share to the outside world, either under NDA or without NDA. Now, if you are looking at a company like Atlassian, they actually publish their roadmap. Any customer can go and see what Atlassian is doing. There are some companies where they share their roadmap under NDA. Now, when I say there are different flavors of the roadmap, it does not mean that we are talking about different things we are going to deliver. It is the hierarchy or the abstraction of the information at which you're going to. When you're going down to the engineering level, you're going down to an API level. You're going down to, how a particular button should look like, working with your UX guy. You are defining the behavior of how the product will do things. But when you're going up at a customer level, you're translating it into value benefit that the customer would get when they get this payload of the product. Finally, you set expectations from roadmap. I'm sure most of you would have bought either a bike or a car, right? When you go and read that, it says this is all the features that it has, and it has a small asterisk saying, but it might change. And what roadmap tells you is this is the probabilistic direction which the company is going, not deterministic direction which the company is going. As I said, roadmaps are fluid based on the market conditions. And therefore, it should be more specific on the why you are doing something, and to an extent how you're going to do it. That's why it kind of goes down. How gets more prominent when you go down to folks who are going to deliver it. How marketing is going to take this information and go out. How engineering is going to take this information and deliver. As you go up, the why becomes more important, and you are explaining why we are doing this. And if the why changes, you change your roadmap. But what you're saying here at any given point in time is this is the direction we want to move. You're bringing in predictability for most of the time. And that is why roadmaps are extremely important. They bring down abstractness of your vision down to execution. Let's move forward. Let's take an example of how we do it so you can kind of get these conceptions together. So as a PM, you would go and start finding the problems in the market. What challenges do your markets have? So let's take an example. All that I've written in green is an example. So they use multiple apps to achieve a given task. I'm using CRM, and then I'm going out and using a chatbot, and then I'm using emails, and then I'm using some ticketing system. So it's like multiple apps that are running. So what value, once you've identified the problems, you want to say, okay, I'm going to address this gap. So you have to deliver a value. And the value internally would turn into an objective. So what you would say is, I want to provide seamless user experience to improve their productivity by X%. Now, objectives can be objectives for your customers. So this is a customer-based objective, or the user-based objectives, the user who's going to use the product. If you can make, in a B2B setup, let's say, your customers, end users maybe their employees or their end customers successful by either bringing in efficiency or productivity or whatever, your customers would be happy to come back to you and say, yeah, you are the vendor we want to engage with. Your objective could also be to increase the profitability of our company by X%, or by addressing a new target market which we were not looking at. So your objectives could be for your organization, for your customers, or could be for the end users. And by the way, if you guys use OKRs, this is how you build OKRs as well. Once you've achieved your objectives, then you look at what product capabilities should I build. So you look at major capabilities. Okay, let's have integrated apps, right? I mean, there could be more of them, but I've just kind of put one. And this is a very broad category, right? It does not talk about what all apps and stuff like that. This is where you will drill down. Once you drill down, you will come to a group of capabilities and break them into releases. And we call them initiatives, right? These are still at a higher level of construct, but under this, you will have multiple features. Like you'll start with contact information and the last purchase, and if they have asked themselves to be put on D&D, whatnot, right? So you will either thematically or by some constructs, let's say you will come up with a minimum viable product or a minimum viable release or the first release or any release that fulfills a certain slice of the cake of the total solution that you want to build and provides the customers value that they would be open to accepting and adopting your next release. And finally, you would time it out, you'd prioritize it, you'd sequence it, saying, I'm going to deliver this in Q1 and then this in Q2, and that turns into your roadmap. So this is how you build your roadmap. And what does a roadmap finally do? It builds a product which has a product market fit, right? PMF. Any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, any confusion till now? I guess you have not put you guys on sleep. Okay, I believe that silence is the new way of interaction, but I'll take that and go forward. Okay, so let's look at various kinds of road mapping frameworks overview. Trust me, you can go to ChatGPT and get this, okay? So don't get boggled by different kinds of roadmaps that are there, but for this discussion, I will let you know that there are multiple different frameworks and you can use any, or your company might be using any that you should be aware of and then work around it. But the core concepts that we looked at previously stay there. I see there's some question. When such companies publish their roadmaps in advance, do they not fear about competition implementing before them and acquire new market share? Great question, Purnima. Now, as a PM, I may also know what my competition is doing, and I can possibly, if I'm a smart PM, also predict where my competition is going to go to. Now, it is not necessary that everything that my competitor has, I have to build in. I'll give you an amazing example. Microsoft Teams and Zoom are competing in the collab space. Both of them approach to the problem in very different ways. Microsoft is front and center when it comes to file sharing, collaboration of work, async collaboration, and their teams provide an opportunity to chat and video call. Whereas if you look at Zoom, it is front and center video calling. That's how we know Zoom. By the way, Zoom has a calendar as well. Zoom has some docs as well. They're building that also. But when you look at your competitor, by the way, if you take a IPL class, which I also kind of teach, which is on JTPD, or Professor Sai teaches, you will get to understand how you can beat your competition, even while sharing the roadmap. Okay. So let's go forward. So the first one I would say is now, next, later. What is coming now? What is coming next? What is coming later? It's used a lot, even in the current company we work. We use it, but again, this roadmap is used for some kind of audiences. So we can have a certain roadmap for certain audiences, as I said, another roadmap for another set of audiences. So it categorizes into immediate, upcoming, and future priorities. I think we have another question. Oh, it's just on live. Okay. Then let's look at the second one. Theme-based roadmaps. Organize your work around strategic themes or goals rather than dates. Okay. So I'm going to come up with this theme. Let's say I'm going to work on integrations this time. I'm going to look at user adoption the third time. The fourth time, I'll go and look at expanding into a certain geography. It could be anything. And all your functionality is built around it. By the way, there's always a date when it needs to be done. And I can give you one thing, write it down if you want to. Your first feature, and that is non-negotiable, that is a P0, which means highest priority, is the date of delivery. If you can bring predictability in the delivery date, you're getting one task right. Now, for SaaS companies and for software companies, which are now using smart things like Jenkins and CI/CD and all of that, the release dates have become a little less important because you release as you build it and you get it done. So there's no particular release date. You are continuously delivering the product as it gets built. One of the companies, I think it's Book My Show, if I remember correctly, or it's Rediff, they literally release their products on a daily basis. Their releases keep coming on a daily basis. Then there's OKR-based roadmap. We discussed about OKRs, just objectives. So it aligns with measurable objectives and KPIs, key result areas, right? So that's another way of doing it. Then Gantt chart. I'm sure most of you would have seen it. It's less used. It's more of a project management place that plays out really well. But engineering does use Gantt chart when they take our roadmap and start putting it together because they need to know what they can parallelize, what they can serialize, and stuff like that. Okay. Then agile roadmap focuses on iterative releases and flexibility. And so sprint-based planning. Well, so most of the companies, even if they don't call it agile roadmap, as I said, it is a strategic roadmap. This is what we mean, which means it is not something that is written in stone. You create it and you forget it, right? It's always iterative. Something may come up and you would ensure that your sprint can accommodate it, unless you're using a waterfall model. So though we are calling it as an agile roadmap separately, a lot of these all roadmaps can be agile and should be agile. Then there's a Kanban-based roadmap. Some of you might have done it. It's like Post-its on a board, or it could be a Post-it on your computer, on a software. But primarily what you do is you take a feature, you put it, everyone puts it, whatever gets the highest density goes forward. It's more like a voting system. And then you can move it around if you want to. So that's what Kanban roadmap is. Again, it embraces the agility of doing things. If you don't want to embrace, it could be a waterfall. So the next one is feature-based roadmap. So what you do is you list down features, release by release, and then you go from there. Again, feature-based roadmaps in a lot of times are agile and should be agile. Portfolio roadmap. Now, this is something interesting. Usually, portfolio roadmaps are done by portfolio owners, which is a person who is managing a bunch of products that come together to provide a joint functionality, or it could be a portfolio of products which needs. Sorry guys, if we have a power outage, I'm still looking at you guys. It shouldn't be a problem, but in case something goes wrong, just bear with me. So portfolio level roadmap is more about where funding should go, which product gets budget over others. And this is usually done at a senior level by a director who owns a portfolio, or a vice president who owns even a bigger portfolio. So this is portfolio planning. Finally, and by the way, there could be more. These are the ones that I think are relevant, are the 3 horizon frameworks, where we talk about short-term operations, mid-term, long-term innovations. This is very similar to now, next, later, but you can understand that most of these are providing information in a visual way, looking at something that we want to achieve over a given period of time. As I said, this is something that I have seen. I have worked for the last 25 years. This is what I have seen mostly come out as a roadmap. And then I have looked at other versions where we're using it for sharing with other stakeholders. We have a question again. Ipshita says, could you please elaborate the OKR roadmap, like to derive the OKRs? Okay. So OKR roadmaps are an interesting one, right? Let me kind of jump to the next slide, which I wanted to kind of just graze through, but I'll walk you through that. So let's look at, so this is comparative. When the slide gets shared with you guys, you can go through it. And let's look at OKR-based roadmap, right? It ties initiatives to measurable objectives. Now, what would you define as an objective? It could be, as I said, a strategic objective focused to your company which you're working for. It could be tied down to the customers, the value that you want to provide them, or it could be tied down to the end user or in the customer space who is going to consume your product. You want to provide them some value. End of the day, you need to have an objective which creates value in the system. And if you are able to define that value, then you kind of trace back and come down to the key results. Let me give you a great example. AI is today front and center. I'm sure most of you are hearing AI. Okay, let's go do AI. Let's do AI. And let's say you want to see how you can do automation. So there are certain processes within the customer environment which are not automated. And you have AI being kind of spoken about. You want your company to be seen as an AI first company. That is your objective. That's coming down from the corporate baby. We want to be an AI first company. So what do? You see there's a gap which you needed to address. And you'll say, can I use AI to solve that problem? Now, not all AIs could be generative AI or agentic AI. That could be old kind AIs. It could be an NLU, an NLP, other algorithms that are out there which you might be using to maybe create a predictive, outcome, or it could be also, a generative outcome. It could be an agentic outcome. But those are outcomes or an output, I would say, to the outcomes that you want to measure. So OKRs are outcome driven, right? As I said earlier too, depending on the stakeholder you want to kind of address to, your company, your customer, the end users, there's an outcome that they will achieve. And you then need to take the outcome and see how you're going to instrument it over a given period of time through features and functionalities. And therefore, OKRs always ensure that they have a strategic alignment to your corporate strategy, your corporate vision, and the direction that the leaders want to take it forward. Now, if you go to cons, it says can be overtly rigid if not updated. Now, let's say we started with AI and we're looking at AI, and the corporate did not say we're going to do agentics, we're going to focus. Let's say they got a little more prescriptive about it, right? So, and you are looking at your customer and say, hey, you know what, but this does not need AI. It needs a very run-of-the-mill, usual if then else to solve it. So it can become rigid because you're contained by what your corporate objectives are or what your division's objectives are, and therefore needs to be constantly looked at, revised, and it is your duty to keep informing your leaders that this is the change that we're seeing in the market. If they are not doing it, you need to tell them. Otherwise, your product would be out of scope or out of what it needs to service, right? Okay, let's take some of the questions that have come up by now. How do OKRs differ from KPIs? KPIs are key product indicators or key success indicators, right? Now, OKRs define outcomes. You need metrics to measure outcomes. So OKRs and KPIs can work hand in glove. KPIs are more about what are the indicators that we need to measure to ensure that we have success. Give me a second, guys. I think there's a problem with power. Right, this is good. Okay. So think about KPIs as more of a double down onto OKRs, but you can live without OKRs and just do KPIs, or you can not have KPIs but call them metrics. But you need to have something to measure the success of the OKRs, and that's where metrics come in. We're going to touch about it as we go forward. Arun asks, today many companies open up their roadmaps for their users. I think we spoke about it. How effective is this approach? So he says, how effective is this approach? And for what kind of products or companies, this is not a good approach. So let's understand this. Every company has a moat. If OpenAI comes and publishes their roadmap, how many companies are ready today to create another large language model? I mean, we can literally count on fingers the large language model companies that are out there. And by the way, they are evolving really, really fast. So we had ChatGPT 3.5 when they opened it up, and today we have deep research in that. So even if they open up their roadmap, the ability for people to catch up with them is going to be very difficult. Let's look at another example where the moat is high. Atlassian. A lot of people use Atlassian. Most of the companies use Jira. They have near monopoly in the software world to manage the product deliverable. So they open their roadmap. If someone wants to catch up with them, okay, fine, come. You need to go to the customer and remove them to get inside. And it's not easy. Just bear with me. So it's not easy to do that. So if your moat is high, it's a great idea to publish your roadmap because it brings in more confidence within the customer environment, within your customers. Now, there's another place where you do not want to open your product roadmap, where the market is highly volatile and your customers are very happy with what they have. They're not asking for the next cool stuff to happen. For example, I'm sure Rolls-Royce making, the most expensive car would not come and give a roadmap to their, buyer saying, oh, tomorrow we're going to have a swish which will fold and then you can see something coming up and then this slide, this, screen going away and another screen coming up. So it depends on your clientele. It depends on your moat. It depends on if your customers are the kind that would be happy to see the roadmap. And all of this is tying back to what kind of market you're working in, what kind of competition you have, what kind of customers you have. And that is the determining factor of if you should or you should not open your roadmap. The third way of looking at it is, okay, I don't care. I'll take the risk. I'll put it out. Well, maybe putting it out may create a risk. And if your moat is low, your competition might catch up. So either you have this real high velocity within your organization to keep moving the bar forward, or you have some kind of moat. Again, that velocity is your moat. So if you have a good moat, I think it's a good approach to do it. If you don't have a good moat, I would say no. Let me have a look at the time. It's about 10:47. How much time we have more, Vishal?
Oh, we have an hour as well, Anand. It's
Oh,
fine.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Let's go to the next question. Are the outcomes in OKR qualitative, subjective in nature, or can they be quantitative, objective with numbers? Awesome question. Whoever asked this, love this question. Someone just asked me about, what is the difference between OKRs and KPIs? Well, OKRs need to end up into a measurable deliverable. Otherwise, they are great sentences which have no action associated with it. So, as I said, OKRs need to be outcome based, and the outcome needs to be measured. And therefore, to do something, you need to create an action. And therefore, they are not subjective in a lot of ways, but they give you the flexibility for marketing to take that out objective and create a marketing outcome, sales to take that objective and create a sales outcome, product management to take that objective and create a product management outcome or a product outcome, so on and so forth. So they give you the flexibility to take and interpret. But after you have done your interpretation, it needs to get quantitative, because you need to still measure if you have achieved what you started to, or you started to go towards. And it is extremely important to do that. Otherwise, any success that you get is serendipitous. I'll give you a great example. When you start from your home, you don't kind of get down or get out of your home and say, let me start walking any direction. Or let me get into a cab, just open the door and then say drive. And then whenever or wherever get down. And if there is, let's say, a bus stand, hop into the bus and then get down again. So let's say we reach the train station and then we go there and give the guy the money and say, give me a ticket. And he says, to where? Wherever this much money gets me. And then you jump and reach there. And by the way, doing all of that, you reached Agra and saw Taj Mahal. Hey, you know what? I did a great journey to Taj Mahal. That is called serendipitous success. You normally do not create a vacations like that, right? You plan a vacation and you execute a vacation. OKRs define a level before that, which says, I want to have a luxurious experience this quarter. I want to have a meditative experience this quarter. That is what outcomes I want. I want to be in peace of mind. I want to see some beautiful places, whatever. Or I want to get into an adventure. Then you quantify, then execute on it and achieve it. And if you don't achieve it, then you wanted to achieve something. What is the gap and what led to that gap? And then you work towards it to fix it next time if you have to achieve the same outcome. The last question we have is from Bhargav. Is there a product management operations maturity model that guides the framework selection, or this is mostly case to case basis? Wow, that's a very heavy loaded question. Please put it in ChatGPT. I'm sure you'll get an answer to it. As much as I like frameworks, as much as I like to have a process, These are jargons, and I would just say, don't get into maturity models. There is no maturity model. The only most mature model is be agile, be open, go and work with your customers, understand your market, and know your competition. If you are doing few of these things really, really well, and you are bringing all that information and becoming a subject matter expert in your market, in your industry, and for your customer, that is the most mature model that you can get into. It is not it is not project management, it is not engineering, it is not manufacturing of a car that I will repeat 500 times, stamping on the bonnet of the car. No, it does not. It's a very fuzzy place, and therefore it gives you frameworks. You need to bring maturity into it. If anyone has a better answer, I would be more than happy to listen to it. Okay, we are done with all the questions right now. Let's move to the next slide so we can reach very quickly to the case study. Vishal, can you please mark all of them done so that we can move forward? Okay.
Sure.
Let's move to the key metrics or the KPIs and the metrics. I think you guys had a question there. Here we are. We're going to talk about it, right? Arun, I know you are here on the call. I would love you to kind of also add to what I'm sharing with others. By the way, Arun is, if I'm getting it right, is the same Arun who is my peer at IPL. Okay, let's look at metrics. What do metrics do? They track and measure user behavior, right? You want to see if the user is behaving the way you wanted them to or not. Monitor and track product health. Track and identify user issues, and finally track and measure campaign performances. Could be anything. Your health is the measure of the temperature of your body. Your health is the measure of the blood pressure of your body. Therefore, there are certain thresholds. If you are within those threshold values, you are healthy. If you're not within those threshold values, you're unhealthy. When you take a pill, it's like putting a feature. If the pill works in the direction of making you healthy, it's the right feature, the right pill, and your product is going to be healthy. If you created a product feature which did not do that, well, you have an unhealthy product because you not meet the metrics, right? Let's go forward. Some animation here. Awesome. Let's go. Okay. So what are metrics? These are agreed parameters to measure the success of the product. So who will you agree these parameters with? Anyone? Can anyone tell me who do we agree these parameters with for success of the product? Is it with the customers, the users, the maid that comes to our home, the CEO, the marketing guy? Who do we agree these parameters to? I'm waiting. Quick ones. Come on, chat. Love to see some answers here. With all the stakeholders, Tanuja says. Perfectly right. That's what it is. So, agreed parameters to measure the success of your product aligned with your stakeholders. Quantifiable data points that a business tracks. We'll go a little deep into what data points it does. Okay, so bear with me. And backbones to a lot of digital products. Well, it can be a backbone to a lot of other products too. But yes, they are, metrics are supposed to be there, right? Okay. Moving forward. There are typically three kinds of metrics, and I've added vanity metrics here because I know a lot of you during the survey also said vanity metrics is something important. Okay. So I have added all the important metrics here. Are we going to go through all of them, right? So what is a product metric? Metric that directly represents the state of various products, areas of the product, right? Can someone share with me any product metric that you have heard about? Or if you have not heard about it, that's also fine. I know from the poll how this population thinks about it, but if anyone has any metric that you want to share. No? Okay. Oh, we have two answers. Okay. Let's see. User engagement metric. Okay. And then Tanuja said any product feature. Purnima, your answer is correct. It's the engagement metrics of the product. I'm not sure, Tanuja, what you mean by any product feature, but okay, we got that. So let's move forward and look at some of the product metrics. Okay.
Anand, there are a few people who have replied on the chat boxes as well. Like, for example, Bhargav has given his insights on Gmail, number of emails surrendered or exchanged. Then Praveen mentioning about bounce rate.
Oh, okay. So I was not getting notification on chat. Okay. So yes, Gmail number of emails are rendered or exchanged. Okay. Bounce rate. I don't know what is the bounce rate. Bounce rate of what? Praveen, depth of in the okay. Yeah. So let me kind of talk about some of the things that include product metric. Let me just go back. Yes. For some reason, I don't know why the examples here don't turn up. Didn't turn up for some reason or the other. Okay, whatever. Maybe I've deleted them when I was working on the slide yesterday. So you're right. Things like retention rate of your users, the DAU, which is daily active users, monthly active users, are metrics. Then there are others. I'll just read it out. I have on my paper here. Activation rate, which means how many users are actually activating your product after they have downloaded and they are providing the first value moments, right? I downloaded an app and I start using. That's what you want to track. Feature adoption rate. You have launched a feature and you're seeing how many users have started using that feature. That is a good metric to be looked at from product metrics. In-app engagement. Within the app, how users are using it, how much time they're spending within the app, how much time they're spending on your page, how much time they are, looking around if it is a catalog or a merchant site. Conversion rate. You have, let's say, a catalog of products, people look into it and they buy it. It could be Amazon or it could be your own product. Let's say you're selling something through your app or through your website. How many people came there, looked at it, and eventually made a purchase is conversion rate. And you can create a funnel out of it. And funnel analysis is also a metric to be looked at. How many people visited the web page, or an app, or how many people came to this particular page on the app? How many people went all the way to put their information but did not put their credit card information and finally close it? So the whole funnel, and by the way, it should always be a funnel shape, is what you are analyzing and you're seeing, and that will tell you if an action needs to be taken or not. Remember one thing, if a metric does not result into a verb, an action, or inaction, so it should always be a verb I want to do or I don't want to do, is a metric worth looking at. And last of all, how product is performing, right? How fast it is loading, how slow it is loading, are there latencies or not? Okay, there we have a few chats here. Session length, yeah. Time spent. North Star metrics, yeah, I think those are more about at a higher level, right? So these things, these small matrices should align to your North Star metric. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Either as an OKR or KPI, you will have a North Star metrics that I want to achieve there. And then all your matrices should align to that North Star metrics. And people leave the app. Yeah, exactly. Engagement rates. Correct, Praveen. Okay, I'll keep this chat open so I can see it, what you guys are talking about. Let's look at business metrics. So, metrics that directly impact business goals. So, let's see how many of you would share some of the business metrics that you're aware of. We have discussed a few, but if not, if you have looked at it, yes, Praveen, ARR, NRR, MRR, correct. Exactly, Purnima. I like it. So people are aware, yes. Monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue, cost of customer acquisition, CAC, lifetime value of customer, right? Or CLTV, customer lifetime value, churn rate, how many people are leaving your product and running away, net revenue retention, right? Which is you assess revenue growth from existing customers and account fraud churn, accounting for churn. So you have ARR, you have churn, and whatever is net left is your net revenue retention, right? Great, Praveen. I can see you've been actively providing us all the right information. Great work there. Then you have ARPU, or average revenue per user, which calculates the revenue generated on an average per customer. So if you want to see how the spread is, this is what you're looking at ARPU, right? Revenue growth rate, how your revenue is growing quarter over quarter, period over period, and what is the percentage it's growing or it's declining. That is a revenue growth rate. And finally, burn rate and runaway, right? It is especially true in startups where people come and then they just run away, or you are quickly kind of burning your cash out to get customers. All these are business metrics. Now, one thing before I move on to customer metrics, I want to inform here. Please do not get overwhelmed with all the metrics that is out there. Someone mentioned North Star metric. Look at what your North Star metric should be, and then only cherry pick those matrices that make sense to you. Someone else might be measuring something else. It does not mean that you have to boil the ocean and go and look at all the matrices that are out there. There are more than what I am telling you. I mean, I'm sure there will be thousands of matrices you can look at, right? See what is relevant to your business, to your product, to your customer. This is really wild. I just don't know. Okay, there we have it. It builds up. Okay. Okay, we've looked into it. Let's look at, someone was talking about net profit, and we have controllable margin as well. So how much margin you want, right? Let's look at customer metrics. Now it would not move. Awesome. We close all of this. Let's look at customer metrics. So we have some more answers coming in. Okay, we have looked at all of that. Just want to clean it up. I'm a stickler for red dots. I don't like them, right? Okay. So what are customer metrics? Let's again go. What are customer metrics? Someone tell me. What would you think? Let's think as, use your common sense, right? What kind of metrics would you use to ensure X of customer? What is that X? What is the X? X of customer. Someone? Value to the customer, right? So you need to know if the customer values what you're providing them. So net promoter score, CSAT scores, all that start falling in the realm of, good, Danuja. This is an answer that we will talk in vanity metrics. Wonderful, good. So yeah, traffic is not a customer metrics, by the way. It's called a vanity metrics, and we'll talk about vanity metrics, right? So let's look at some of the customer metrics: net promoter score, CSAT scores, churn rate, and then there are a lot more, right? Let's talk about a few. We have customer engagement. We spoke about it just a while back. Customer effort score. How much effort would a customer expend to achieve an issue, resolve an issue, or achieve a goal? Now, let me ask this question here. Do you think a higher customer effort score is good for you, or a low customer effort score is good for you? Anyone? If your customer is putting more effort to achieve a certain goal, great, Purnima. Yes, a lower customer effort score is great. By the way, on the other hand, if you are in a monopoly, or if you are not in a monopoly, but your product is so good that customers are willing to put some little more effort to do the things, it's a way to look at it. But yeah, that's being a little egoistic. So yes, a lower customer effort score is essentially the way that you should be looking at. Someone has a question. Yeah, Tanuja says low. Yes, it's low is the right answer. And finally, things like renewal rate. So you have a subscription, customers renewing your product, that kind of showcases that you're measuring the right metrics. If they are not renewing it, well, now you have a problem and you need to go and figure out why customers are leaving you, or they're not renewing, or why do they don't need the service, right? Now let's look at finally the vanity metrics. This is one of the best matrices I like. You know why I like that? Because it is superficial, meaning misleading, and lacks actionability. As I said, any metric that does not result into a verb, either to do it or not to do it, is your decision. But if it does not result into a verb, that's a useless metrics. And these are some of the ones that I will talk about. Let's see if there are a few that I have written here. I think I have written social media followers, number of page views, app downloads. Honestly, most of the VCs have given up on when, startup guys would say, oh, we had these many app downloads. Okay, initially they kind of got sold onto it, but it means nothing. I downloaded the app. After that, I did not use it. I downloaded Country Delight, but I did not order a single packet of milk. Country Delight can say, yeah, we had like 1 million app downloads, but we sold 10 packets of milk. That is the metric that you want to look at. Why did people not use the app? Why did people not, the first user experience that we spoke about, right? Feature adoption, the first time the customer opens it up. Those are the matrices that you should be looking at, not these matrices. Let me see if I have a list here. Okay, yeah, I have a list. Web traffic, page views, social media followers and likes. I think I've mentioned here on the app downloads, app installs, registered users, signups, email subscribers and count. Nothing. Like seriously, impressions, how many times your ad made an impression if you are driving a marketing campaign, or video views. These are all vanity metrics. These are make happy metrics, and that's why it's called misleading, and they're superficial. They make you feel good. It makes you feel look good, but it results in nothing, right? So with that said, let's look at or click-through rate. Let's look at how do you drive, or how are metrics driven. So goals driven metrics are primarily that you have a goal and that we spoke about, and then you write a metric that focuses on that particular goal. And over a period of time, as you go through the product life cycle, your metrics may change. A mature metric, a product which is mature, would be looked at from different lenses than what you would look at in the growth or introduction. During the maturity, your customer acquisition cost should be very low, which you may find to be very high here. On the other hand, the money that is spent on building the product, cost of resources, we have not spoken about, that could be one of the business metrics also. How much money you're spending on building the product needs to go down, because what you're doing in maturity, primarily you are reaping what you have built. You can see here, this is the peak at which you are reaping the benefits of all the product that you have built over this entire phase. After this, it's a decline which starts in your profit. And therefore, you would want to spend least amount of money, but you would want to reap as much revenue as possible. The things that you're going to measure change. So focus on the metrics that are important as you go through the phases. I'm sorry about this. Easy to get and lost. I mean, we spoke about it. Absolutely. Just like metrics can be confusing, what data you have to measure also will get you confusing. So if you can get very clean about what outcomes you want, you will measure the right metrics. And if you're measuring the right metrics, you will achieve a clean understanding of your product performance, your customer behavior, and where your business is going. And just prioritize a handful of each at each stage for product development life cycle, right? So we spoke about a lot of matrices. We discussed about, you know, how and why we should be using a metrics. And now we need to ensure that we just prioritize a handful because the rest would be superfluous. Let's go through some of the chat and questions that have come up. Yes, Praveen, that's right. Any vanity metrics is for bragging. Those are bragging rights. Yield nothing. Okay, absolutely right. Let's look at some of the questions that have come in. So should we ignore these metrics? I think you're talking about vanity metrics. Absolutely, we should be ignoring vanity metrics. The next question from Purnima is, when we should change a business metrics we have been tracking for a product, is it just business vision dependent or other factors to consider while changing a metrics? Business metrics are usually driven by your strategy. Your business strategy could be customer acquisition, and therefore your metrics should be aligned to customer acquisition. Your business metrics could be increased profitability, and therefore your matrices for your business should be aligned to profitability. Your metrics could be to reduce customer churn, and therefore your metrics should be aligned to those matrices which help you understand why customers are leaving you. And therefore, you should change the business metrics based on the business outcomes that are needed. Now, what you're saying is we have been tracking a product. Absolutely, the product needs to sometimes garner more people, sometimes retain the people that are on the product, get more profitability out of them. If you're a B2B vendor, not a B2C, I mean, in a B2C also you can do that, but in B2B becomes significant. You launch with one product. Again, I'll take example of Atlassian. There are other products too, by the way. Zoom itself does that. You started by Jira, but then you came with Atlassian Plan, then you came with Atlassian Atlas, then you came with Atlassian Programs. Now there is Atlassian, product discovery. Now, what they are trying to do is they're trying to garner the bigger wallet share from that B2B customer. There's also, by the way, a concept called as product-led growth, PLG. We're not talking here, but Atlassian uses a lot of PLG. And primarily what they're trying to do is, the metric they are measuring here is, am I able to earn more? What is the lifetime value of the customer? Am I able to increase that or not? So you are getting the same user to use multiple products, and each product has a dollar value attached to it. Maybe, so you're getting net new revenue, or a feature may improve the retention. So going back to the roadmap, your theme could be user retention, your theme could be increased profitability, your theme could be garner more customers, get more logos, and these could be themes, and then your feature sets would evolve accordingly. So road mapping and metrics are aligned to the outcomes. So we kind of closing the loop back to where we started. Okay, let's see if there are any more questions or comments on the chat, and then we'll go to the case study. Can't we use vanity metrics for promotions? Yeah, I mean, you can, but I don't know how much would you. I mean, let's put it this way. There's a big hoarding which says, we had 1.2 million views on YouTube. Unless you are a YouTuber, If you are selling Boroline, I do not know how it makes sense. But would I buy your Boroline tube because you had 1.2 million views on YouTube? No, I wouldn't. No one will. So you see, um, if the metric does not directly align to your business, it makes no sense. And again, some of the vanity metrics, like I say, video views for a YouTuber is absolutely an important thing. Number of likes for a guy who is running making money from Instagram posts, those influencers that we have, for them, these vanity metrics, by the way, to an extent make sense. But we are talking about digital products, and those are not digital products. Okay, so let's jump onto the case study. I think Vishal would have shared the link to this case study to y'all. I'll just explain what this case study is. It's a very small case study. So I'm giving you guys the flexibility to use your imagination. Go wild. It's a short exercise. Vishal, do we break them into some kind of groups? Can we do that?
Oh, we can do this, Anand.
Okay, great. So what I will do is I'll explain this. I'll show the next slide of what we expect, and then we'll break you out into groups. I'll come in each group for some time, spend time with you. If you have any questions, I'll answer that and then go from there. And then what's the time now? It's 11:18. How much time we are left with?
We can take like 30-40 minutes more.
Okay, fine. So what we will do is we'll give you about 15 minutes to prepare on the slide on this case study, and then we'll choose one group out of all the groups that get created. I don't know how many of you are here right now, and then one of you would present. So it's going to be random sampling. I guess some of you guys know what random sampling is, right? That's absolutely essential when you're doing product discovery and validation. So we're going to use the same processes that we use for product management here. We're going to pick one champion amongst you, and as I said, all of you are champions. We're going to pick one champion, and you're going to come and present your findings. Okay. So the case study is smart home, a smart home device company product roadmap. So you are a smart home company, device manufacturer, and you need to create a product roadmap and metrics, right? So the company background. Smart Home is a startup based in Bengaluru, Karnataka, focused on developing and selling smart home devices such as smart lighting, security systems, smart thermostats, maybe smart taps, smart gas, whatever. I leave it to you. I'm giving you some understanding of what smart things are. Now this is important. They aim to become a leading provider of affordable and user-friendly smart home solutions, highlighting the words leading provider, affordable, user-friendly. Remember, these three words are very important. Now that you understand the case study, what I want you to do is write down what the business goals are, what the product roadmap should be. Maybe you can break them down into phase, what milestones, what key features you'd come down to. What would be the user metrics? I've given one like user acquisition because we already said that there. And what are the results that you finally come to, right? So what we're going to do is we ask Vishal to break you into groups, right? And then,
Uh,
yes.
Anand, there is a sorry to barge in, Anand. And I'm finding the option, but I'm not able to see the option of enabling with a group thing in Zoom because it's a webinar and it's not a meeting. It's a
Okay.
problem, Anand. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry about this. I should not be showing you the side. Okay, there we go. So why don't we do this? How many of us are here on the call? 29 people, including me and you, right? That's about 27 people.
26 people, exactly.
26 people. Okay. So what do you suggest we do? Do you guys want to do it individually? Which I think you guys have to do it. We cannot put you in groups now. And then maybe we can have 2 or 3 of you come and present, right? Let's do that. So if you have any questions, ask me. Open your pen and paper. I think Vishal has already shared the link to the case study to you. So you should have it on your computer. You can open it up. You will exactly see the slide. Start inserting your information here. Think through, and then let's go forward from there. Ask me if you have any more questions. So it's 11:22. Let's start at let's say what, 11:40.
Looks better.
Yeah, okay. So 11:40, we'll kind of ask one of you who's ready to present. And I'm here. Ask any questions that you have. I'll be more than happy to help you with answers. Sure, Tanuja. I think Tanuja had to drop off, so it's okay. She had something. So. I think Arun also made a comment. I missed it out. Today, many companies open up their roadmaps for users or even general public to vote or even seek their inputs. Yes, you're right, Arun. A lot of companies do that. They get votes on the ideas. How effective is this approach? What kind of products or companies is this not a good approach? Guys, just give me a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go back to the point that Arun was making. Yes, I have worked with a company which has an idea portal. By the way, there is a product called AHA for product management, which provides you with this option called idea portal, where users can provide their ideas and folks can vote. Now, it does not mean that they are exposing their roadmap. What they're primarily doing is they are getting votes on the ideas. I don't think it's a great idea to expose roadmaps and get votes there, because I can assure you that your customer does not know what they need more than what you understand about your customer's needs. And I'll explain it to you. No customer who was a BlackBerry user would have told or would have voted if Apple would have opened up their roadmap or a keypad less phone. They would have said, thumbs down to all those options, which would have said something which is dramatic. This is significant, but even if we come down to smaller functionalities, you as a product manager should be the gatekeeper to what needs to be done. You can take votes, but the problem with that is if you have a feature which has got higher votes and that is in public, and you think the other customers or the market really needs another feature, you have just exposed your process. So I don't think getting votes on your product roadmap is a great idea, but getting votes on the ideas that may form a part of the product, I think that's a good idea. So you can still say that, yes, we got your votes and we evaluated and we figured out that out of the 10,000 customers we had, the 80 votes that we got did not make any sense to the remaining 9,920 customers. And therefore, we're not doing it. Though you can say 80 votes is a threshold, whatever. You can do whatever you want. So the idea is that I would not propose that people should expose their roadmaps to get votes. But yeah, they can propose their ideas or discoveries which they want to do to get votes to understand how people think about it. Balakrishnan, you said there is a way, there's always a struggle for estimation of work for each sprint as user stories to be completed within sprint. Estimation has mostly been based out of gut feel. Many a times engineering overestimates. I know. This is another beast in the equation of delivering on the roadmap, which is getting to an agreement with engineering of what they should be delivering, when they should be delivering. The only way to do that is to have cleaner, maybe agile process, maybe more cleaner discussions during your, your daily stand-ups, understanding why they're estimating what they're estimating. So some of this results in product managers to be a little more technical and have a meaningful discussion with engineering as to why they're estimating what they're estimating. Now, it quickly takes a turn from being objective to political, and therefore I would kind of stay away from that discussion on this forum. But yeah, if you guys are wanting to have a discussion on this, I can do a one-on-one and explain how things can be resolved. There is always a compromise, there's always a negotiation, and that's why, if you remember, when I started this presentation, I did speak about collaboration. You should be great negotiators to arrive at a agreeable roadmap with all the stakeholders. Engineering would be one of the prominent ones because they're going to deliver it. Hope that helps with your point of view, Balakrishnan. So we are about 8 minutes into the case study. We have, I'll just put it back to the case study. We have about another 10 minutes to go. So as you start getting, done with your case study, please raise your hand so I know who all have finished. You don't need to wait for the time to get over. And again, this is an exercise for you to appreciate what we have discussed rather than evaluating if you've done it right or wrong, right? That is for the organization that you work with to figure out if things have gone wrong or right. Again, if you've gone wrong with the decision, metrics will tell you that. If you've gone right with the decision, the metrics will tell you that. And as a product manager, you actually own the risk of your decisions. And that's the beauty of this role, right? It has in its role built in the idea of a risk taker. You have to stick your neck out. and take a decision, and then ensure that you have means and measures to figure out if your decision is right or wrong. While you guys are busy, I was looking at the LinkedIn. I see there's some questions. Deepak has asked, what is vanity metrics? I think we have addressed that. I think the sound part is kind of addressed now. And then he asks to explain churn rate. Churn rate is the rate at which your customers start leaving you. And you want to reduce that. So you have 100 customers, 50 customers leave at a given period in time. You have a churn rate of 50%. That's churn rate. And as you get more people, you try to acquire people. So that's your acquisition rate. By the way, retention and churn are two different things. So if you're looking at retention rate and if you're looking at churn rate, they're completely two different matrices and used for two different reasons. Churn is to see how many people are leaving. Retention is to see how long people retain on your given product. Yep, I'm seeing Shafir has raised hand. Great, Shafir, thanks. Why don't we do this? Vishal, can you start unmuting people who are ready? Maybe we can have them talk.
Sure,
Maybe
absolutely. Let me know
Praveen,
who wants to speak. And okay, I'm allowing Shafi. Shafi,
Shafir,
you can
Shafir.
go ahead.
Sure, sure. Please go ahead. Let me just find where
Yeah,
I lost my Zoom. Give me a
yeah,
second, guys.
I'll take only 5 minutes within this 10 minutes. I was driving, so I had only remaining 10 minutes to do a rough sketch on what's my idea about and what's my proposal.
Okay.
So basically, as a product manager, what I do is first I'll start listening the user problems,
Mm-hmm.
like through any qualitative data from competitors, like what the other thermostats. Basically, my vision is to have a intuitive and AI-powered thermostat to reduce the energy cost and over the period of time integrate with other smart home IoT devices, basically. So and and also have an intuitive thermostat basically. So that's basically my goal. So first of all, in my user points, I would say user pain points, I would say I had uh, high energy bill due to the inefficient heating and cooling system within my home.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, before that, I'll try to analyze or try to go with the segment the users, like what kind of users I'm going to target, like it's urban users or suburban users or metropolitan users and high income, low income, and renters or having their own home. That is the user segment. So in that, I identified users with own property, which they have high income users who have centralized heating and cooling system. And that is my targeted segment basically. And they always have a pain points that, with their current thermostat systems, they have very high bills, energy bill due to inefficient heating and cooling, and their thermostat is basically the existing one, which does not provide. It's basically a old model, like you have to set time, specific time. It's a heat and like basically during downtime, like during night, reduce the set the temperature down in their thermostat. Now, complexity in basically that's another one, like what I said, the complexity in setting schedules and adjusting temperature remotely. That's another problem.
Mm-hmm.
And another issue, pain points, is the lack of integration, basically, with other IoT devices.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go with the competitor analysis and market trends. Like there is a growing demand. What I identified that growing demand for high energy efficient solutions, and I mean demand for energy efficient thermostat, adoption of AI driven climate control by learning the past usage of this particular and basically by with the past usage, and the system can learn and they can adjust the climate inside home based on their previous usage, historical usage. And that's the market trends basically. So basically there are some thermostats in such a way, but that is what I want to in my case study for my product. I want to incorporate that also. Now, the product roadmap, what I would do is, first of all, I'll go with the MVP approach with basically a basic thermostat with app control with a mobile device. You can connect via Wi-Fi and remotely access the mobile app. That's the first thing which I do to ship fast and to have increased velocity. And like I said, like in MVP, I would go for learning based scheduling and energy usage reports. So basically, that will have kind of an aha moment for the user that, based on their learning based scheduling and based on their in their mobile, how much the usage of energy, so that they will have that, like they can physically see in their mobile device uh, how the usage of that particular how efficient is how efficiently energy being used. In phase two, after the MVP, my target for that first app launch in for the 0 to 1 product between 1 to 3 months. That's the goal, MVP launch. Yeah.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, okay. So in the phase two, from 3 to 6 months, my next goal is to have a voice assistant integration, like connectivity with the other uh, 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 home assistant tools, like apps like Alexa, Google Home, or Siri, and then add smart alerts and notifications like temperature anomalies and
Mhm.
kind of like and I would go for geofencing also, like what we have in other major competitor products, like when you leave home, set the temperature to the normal, and for the which is not available right now with my with in majority of the manual analog automation. Like, it will keep running, the heating system or cooling system will keep running. So based on the geofencing, it can start a few minutes early before I reach home, and if I left home, and automatically it'll cool down or set the normal temperature. And um, and then in future, in roadmap, I have AI powered, like it can, like in any lawn watering system, like based on the weather, the it will water the lawn system. So basically, I can incorporate that kind of mechanism, like look at the weather outside and control the temperature, uh, uh, inside. So basically, these are the few uh, intuitive product which I want to go one by
So
one.
great. This is good, Shafiq. What would be your metrics for some of the things that you've spoken? What metric?
Yes, I would say one is the success metrics. I would ask for the adoption rate, number of users are installing and actively using this thermostat.
Mhm.
And the other metrics, I would say how much the each month or monthly basis, how much energy is getting saved, because that's one of the main goal. And then automation utilization. That's once I implement the automation, then how users are doing that. So
Wonderful. This is good, Shafiq. I really like the way you've kind of put it together when you were driving. So appreciate you thinking through and bringing it together. Again, as I said, there's no wrong answer, right answer. When we go through it, we'll see how we can be more structured. Again,
yeah.
thank you. So I saw Praveen had raised, right? Praveen, you want to talk, or again, we have um Purnima and Bhargav who also said that they can take a shot. Yes, Bhargav had taken. So Praveen, you want to talk, or should I ask Bhargav to present? Praveen says yes. So Vishal, could you make Praveen unmute Praveen, please?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. All
And
right,
after
Praveen,
we
you
can
can
have
go ahead.
Bhargav. I think we'll that should be.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Praveen, you're audible.
Thank you. I'd like to share my screen if that is allowed.
Sure, please go ahead.
I do not see an option to share the screen, but that's
Once,
fine. I think if it is possible, it will be good. Otherwise, I can just speak it out.
Okay, I have promoted you to the panelist. Go ahead, Praveen, try again presenting your screen.
Praveen, are you able to do that?
I had to rejoin. So
Or you have to rejoin?
I had to return, so that's why I had to.
So, Vishal, in the meantime that Praveen rejoins, can you?
No, I already rejoined. So,
Okay.
so as he made me a panelist, so automatically Zoom made me rejoin. So that's why the delay.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I
So
guess
this is what my roadmap is. Are you able to see the screen?
not now it's showing. Yes, I can see it now.
So based on the case study, this is the overview which I have made of the product, which is an AI-based IoT device management app enabling device discovery, security, threat detection, and automation.
Okay,
So, and the goals I have noted is the business-related goals. That is 5 to 10% market penetration in next 3 years, and 50 to 20% in net profits at the end of third year, and maintaining a 1:3 LTV to CAC ratio. And
great.
my product roadmap is based on the features which this the guy before me has already covered most of the product points. So I'll be giving in the first 6 months a mobile app with supporting electrical appliances like lights, fans, geyser, and thermostat, door locks, laptops, etc., and cameras with basic
Yeah.
security and threat detection. And the next 6 months, feature expansion to include device management features in the application, in the mobile app, with multiple accounts, usage sharing across devices, and voice support. And in the long term, I'll enable AI training, reinforcement learning, integration with home-based robots, etc., and custom automation processes which the users can adopt with their devices. So, and the business roadmap is in the year one, I'll be focusing to achieve 2 to 3% market penetration. As my goal is to take or penetrate 5 to 10% in 3 years. So by the end of in year two, 5%, and year three, 10% with 20% in net profits.
Great. I like that you broke the roadmaps into business roadmap and a product roadmap with the phases clearly called out. Now, what metrics would you measure? So you need to measure how is the phases delivering the business roadmap. So you need to measure and correlate them. So what metrics would you be measuring to ensure that you're achieving the goals that you've set for yourself?
So after the first release, definitely after the year one, once I achieve this target, 2 to 3% market penetration, next year my focus would be to.
No, I get it. What metrics would you use? I'm asking you. So metrics is it?
So I'll keep a check on the churn rate and retention rate if competitors are basically uh, coming into the picture. Then
Okay.
my goal would be to keep a check on the retention rate and the churn rates. And I'd keep a check on the eye on the average recurring revenue and the monthly recurring revenue and the customer acquisition costs. And so based on the customer acquisition costs, I would also try to optimize the pricing and the
Mhm.
cost structure as well as the app in terms of digital app. So the app engagement rate, session length, how much time they are using the apps, and so yeah, those are the metrics.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Praveen. This was good. I like your succinct presentation. Yeah, there would be other metrics too, but this is a good start.
Yeah, customer satisfaction, as you told, net promoter score maybe. So that will help me.
I think one of the things you've already written up, which is a third of LTV and CAC ratio, right? So 1/3 LTV to CAC ratio. That's a measure. So you have to measure LTV, you have to measure CAC, and that's why you can get the ratio, right? So I can see you've written a few things up in the goals, and you just needed to turn it into actual metrics to measure. And then you would want to see with the product's usage, like you said, retention and churn. And I think that's a good one. So before we ask Bhargav to kind of present, anyone has any thoughts or comments or observations that you think either in Bhargav's presentation that you want to call out? Sorry, in Praveen's. I'm sorry, I muddled up the names.
That's fine, Anand.
Okay, thanks, Praveen. Thanks a lot for doing this. I hope you gained some insights into, the stuff you need to do. Yes, we can have Bhargav present. Bhargav, you want to present or talk about it? How do you want to go about it? Bhargav, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Anand. I'm going to talk about, I don't have much to present,
Okay.
right? I think looking at the company's mission, right? It's a startup, so we're going to call this as a mission and not as a vision, right? The scope is very wide. Lighting, security systems, thermostats. These could be their own teams by itself, right? And the business model is also, there is a lot of ambiguity in it, whether it's going to be a B2B, where there is a tie-up with a developer in a new property where the services get installed, or whether it's directly selling to customers through B2C model, right? So that kind of leads to two different types, right? Number of units installed or number of installations done, right? So those will be some of the interesting metric we'll probably need to use in the goals and to drive this further down the line, right? So broadly, three themes: smart lighting, security systems, and smart thermostats. I honestly don't know what these use cases are, right? So I'm going to leave it at there, right? I would, at the theme level, I would have an activation metric, which talks about launch new smart products in a specific theme in the price range XXYY. We don't know that XXYY because we are talking about affordable installations, right? By a quarter, right? I think it could mean multiple things, right? One theme gets prioritized in one quarter, the other thing gets prioritized in like 3 quarters out. Again, it depends on how much the company can execute, right? And then that is the activation. It is essentially launching new smart products, right? Are they going to buy these products from the existing market? Are they going to spin up a patent for doing something new? Those are all details that needs to be figured out, right? And that will kind of eventually flow into the roadmap, right? It could, the acceptance for this activation could be, hey, we have a pilot running, right? We have in one of the founders how we have a setting where these things are running without defect, right? Let's say for probably a couple of weeks, right? That could be a good acceptance for this activation goal, right? And then how do we adopt that to the market, right? We now, that's going to be number of units sold or hours of usage in a specific locality by say 2 quarters out, right? From the day when we start the marketing, post the product launch, when the marketing and all hits the ground running, that's when we'll start gathering these numbers and take a goal on, hey, we need to sell X units of, let's say, a specific light model, right? A smart light, or we need to track for usage of X hours so that we don't just worry about selling. We also index on the number of hours used over a couple of quarters, right? Because the company specifically is not going to be a runaway company. It's going to be, it needs to be a leading provider in that space, right? So we have to get that time to measure that metric and include that as part of the goal, right? Growth metric, there I would want to break this into two. One is driving growth within the same locality. Let's say if they fix Bangalore as the locality, right? Then they could say X% sale growth or hours used within Bangalore. And if they're looking at other locations, it could be, hey, we want to span out into Hyderabad and see how this works, right? That is also growth to me, right? And take a goal on next set of cities that you want to focus on, right? So that your marketing spend, the effort to launch the product into those markets, any nuances with that specific market are taken care in the roadmap, right? And then on the retention front, I would specifically want to add a quality parameter, which is quality in the form of defect rate, low single digit defect rate uh, on the usage front, right? Which is essentially going to drive the retention, right? Because we can control the quality, we cannot control the retention. So we're going to say, hey, along with the initial installations, we are going to target a single low digit defect rate according to what the current market is, right? I don't honestly don't know what that number is. So I'm going to leave it at X defect rate installation less than X defect rate, right? That is one parameter that I would add to the goal.
Yeah.
Right? And there are a lot of open stuffs here on the current players. What is the market usage? What is an acceptable customer spend for in each of these themes? What is the ROI for, let's say, lighting versus security systems for thermostat? I think this will help the founder prioritize which market they want to get into sooner or rather wait, right? Let's say I wouldn't want the founder to work on a team that has low ROI, right? If let's say thermostat is a low ROI thing, right? I wouldn't spend my effort as a startup in the RO in that thermostat, right? And then largely the capital requirements needed to even build those products, right? What profitability is on offer? What is the annual maintenance model for this, right? And support model, right? Obviously, we need to set up the uh, customer support teams to fix issues because that is largely going to drive retention and growth, right? Word of mouth is going to be a big thing since this is a startup, right? And we obviously don't want to launch something and then hear that it's not working, right? And rebranding is going to be very challenging once we start doing all these things. So I'll take a pause here, Anand. That's all I had.
Okay, great. I think Bhargav, thanks for presenting, and I really love the way you've thought about it. I think all three of you, Shafir, Praveen, and Bhargav, you guys have done awesome. I have learned something new, and each of you have given a different flavor. Like in your case, Praveen, Bhargav, you brought up defect rate. You spoke about things which, in manufacturing is spoken about, which is Six Sigma. But that is a goal rather than a metric. Then ROI, you spoke about ROI, profitability. Now, some of these are not really, these are ratios, not metrics, right? Because you arrive at that. But as a decision, you need to look into it. There are other ratios that I would suggest when you guys are working on your products. Look at IRR, which is internal rate of return, net present value. Someone spoke about the CAC to LTV value, LTV to CAC value, CAC to LTV value. So there are a lot of these ratios which tell you if the product or the project you are working towards is profitable or not, and it's worth investing there. But you need to keep looking at some of the the primitives in metric to ensure that you're getting and collecting all the data to make it happen. So what I will do now is I took a stab at this case study. Again, like most of you have observed, I have purposely kept it vague so that you can take your interpretation and go forward rather than canning it down, because we do not have like a whole day to go through this workshop, right? So I'll just kind of share my screen, and let me just put myself back on presentation mode. There's the presentation. There we have it. And let me just share my screen again. Now, there we are. I guess you guys can see case study smart homes, right? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Vishal. Okay. So let's go with goals. This is the goals that I had written down. We look at market penetration. Naturally, that's what they want. So achieve at least 10% market share in the smart home device market within the next 2 years, right? So you see that a goal needs to be time bound. Then customer acquisition. So when we are going to achieve 10% market share, what does it mean really? What does 10% mean? Is it going to be number of devices? Is it going to be number of households? Is it going to be number of users? So what we're saying is we're going to acquire 50,000 active users, not passive users, which means not just people who buy our devices, but people who use our devices within the first year of the product launch. It could be an aggressive, it could be non-aggressive, that does not matter. The thing is, what I'm trying to help you guys filter out is the way you need to think about when you are devising goals for your product. Customer retention. Maintain a customer retention of 70% within the first year, right? Which means these 50,000 users that we have, which we have acquired, 70% of them should retain. Now, you can also say, hey, what about those passive users? Well, honestly, we should push them for adoption, but we should not let go of the users which are active. So we need to focus a lot on getting these 50,000 users to be with us. So we should not lose more than 70%. Now let's understand this. When someone goes for house automation, it's not like they go and buy everything. Like in my home, I bought Wipro bulbs, then I bought Philip bulbs, I bought actually Cisco smart bulbs, then I bought Wipro smart bulbs, then I bought Philips smart bulbs, and I figured out that none of them work. So we have gone to some extent on IoT, but it's not really IoT. Or I mean, it is smart, but it is not like I have got like smart switches which are Wi-Fi connected. I have an app on my phone as well. But all I'm trying to say here is we need to ensure that people who have bought smart bulbs from us have also bought smart fans, other devices, and keep so they keep using our products and keep moving forward, right? And finally, revenue growth. So we achieve at least a 50% revenue growth annually. Now let's understand, we are a startup, right? So any growth we make in the first year is basically infinity percent, right? We started from zero. So we need to ensure that we have a steep revenue growth because we are not a well-established large organization which is making millions and billions of dollars. We're talking about very small amount, and therefore we need to have a very aggressive revenue growth goal. Let's look at product roadmap. Now, this is going to be a very busy slide. Let's not get into it. It is about the same things that you guys have spoken about. It's just that I have also said, like in phase 2, let's integrate with smart things. And in phase 3, let's expand into new markets like, Bhargav, you've been speaking about. So it's about on the same line. So I'm going to skip this. But more importantly are the metrics. So I guess you guys have got an idea of roadmap and features. What I want you to understand is the mapping of the metrics to your goals with roadmap or your product being the tool to achieve these metrics. So user acquisition, number of users per month, right? Cost per acquisition. There could be more, but this is what I'm looking at, user acquisition, because my objective is customer acquisition. User engagement, average session and a device usage duration, feature usage rate, frequency of interaction. All this helps me if the users are engaging or not. Again, helps me with retention. Customer satisfaction helps me measure if this is. So if you see, user engagement is my leading indicator. Customer satisfaction is my lagging indicator. And we have to understand things like daily active users, monthly active users. These are leading indicators that tell me if we're going to have a churn or we're going to keep these people using our products. So metrics also have a leading and a lagging, metric. So this is a leading metric. This is a lagging metric. And then finally, sales and revenue numbers, which tie down to the revenue growth we're talking about. Finally, what are the results? We would have achieved some percentage of market share. We would have acquired some customers. We would have done some retention, and we would have achieved some revenue growth. And this may be not exactly what we wanted or above, but it is close to it. So it kind of tells us that what we are doing is not hopelessly wrong. It is in the right direction. We need to improve. We need to go back in the market, listen to the market, come back here, redesign our roadmap, look at the metrics again, come back to results. And this is an iterative process that will keep going on and on and on. Now, we are done with our presentation slides. Okay, so we're done. If there are more questions, I am open to taking them, answering for, let's say, another 5 minutes, and then we can close this masterclass. And where did you guys go? Where is Zoom?
Uh, Anand, can you just explain the leading and lagging indicators which you spoke about? Which
Okay.
ones are leading and which ones are lagging and why?
Okay. So let's talk about, I'll just give you the same example that I just gave. Daily active users or product usage. This is telling me before a churn happens, what is the user doing with it? So these are leading indicators to an event that may happen or may not happen. So if I have customers who are 100% engaged with the product, they are using the product on a daily basis, they do not stop using it. I'll give you a great example. Have you guys used Zepto or Instamart or Blinkit? Most of you would have used it. Just stop using that product for a week. Just stop using it. You know, they will get a leading indicator that this guy has stopped using the product. Immediately, the next time you log in, you'll get like 75 rupees off, 50 rupees off, something, they'll give it to you because they don't want you to run away from that platform. Okay. That is a leading indicator that tells the app provider or the software provider, the product provider, that this guy is using or not using my product. Lagging indicators are when things have happened, people have left. That is churn rate. People have gone. Net promoter score. After people have used the product, they will, tell you if they are happy or not happy. Will they recommend you or not recommend you? Those are lagging indicators after people have used your product. That is the difference between a leading and a lagging indicator. That will help you?
Yes, I understood the core concept of leading and lagging indicators. Thank you.
Yeah. Now you just need to go and look at the list. You'll get to know what are leading and lagging. Yes, Shafir, you have a question?
Yeah. So what were you presented the last slide, right? So would that considered as product thinking if you're attending, if you're preparing for any interview, like if uh, 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 if an interviewer ask to design a product, so can be considered or answer in this framework for any product sense or product thinking?
Yeah, okay. I get
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
question. Yes. Yes, this can be used as a model to answer your questions. You should start with, so the first thing is if anyone asks you design this product, the first thing would be what problem would is this? So first of all, I know it's a very tangent to what we are discussing today, but let me share this out. If someone asks you a question, help me improve Google Maps, and you start answering that question by giving features, you for sure should know that the interviewer is not looking for that. What they're looking for is how you are going to arrive at what you're going to build. And then when you build something, how you're going to measure what you have built. And then once you have measured what you've built, how you're going to, react to the results that come to you. That is what they're looking at. And would you build something else again if you measure something? So if they say, what next feature would be there in Google Maps? So you have to say, first of all, is there a problem that we are trying to solve? Is the Google Map usage going low? Who is using? Why are we creating this? Have we got some market feedback that is telling us that we should be doing it? Is the usage of Google going down? Oh, Maps going down? No, what? Why? Where is this coming from? So first of all, the second.
So arrive to a kind of a hypothesis before we jump into the solution.
Yes. So before even you come to hypothesis, arrive at a problem that
Problem.
you
Yeah.
solve. Once
Okay.
you arrive at the problems to be solved, you will arrive at a hypothesis, which will say, if I do this, this problem will solve.
Mhm.
Okay. So you know the problem. And then you'll say, okay, if I solve this problem, what is for Google? What is for the customer? Right? And then you want to build that feature. Then you will measure if whatever hypothesis you put together, does it make sense or not? and then your numbers will tell you if it is good or not. If you took crocin and did it help you or not to get your temperature down, exactly that. Then you may want to take nimesulide. Who knows? You get my point? Right. Yeah, that's the right way to, that's the exact way to attend or answer a question of such sorts in an interview. Yes, M, you want to ask a question. Vishal, can you unmute her or him? Because I can't make out the gender. Vishal, you're mute now.
Sorry. Okay, M. Okay. Yeah, M, you can go ahead. You can talk.
M, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, we still do not have. Praveen has a question. Okay, by the time M unmutes. Praveen, yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Yeah,
Others, if you want to join, please raise your hand. We'll connect you. We'll join you to the call. Yes, Praveen, go ahead.
I wanted to know if suppose my product is focused on just the mobile application and I need to partner with multiple providers of devices such as maybe Wipro or Philips or Havels, to support all kinds of like I target that the household can buy anything the inventory by themselves. I won't be providing the inventory, but I'll be
Yeah,
only providing an app which can integrate to all these providers. Now, in
yeah,
this case, I would need to partner with all the providers, all the vendors, right? So
correct.
this partnering is also should this partnering strategy also be included in the roadmap?
Okay, so great question. By the way, there's a whole class on that if you join my strategy class, which is build, partner, or buy, right? Now, partnering can be part of your business roadmap, which is how you're going to achieve the result, right? At a strategic level. So there's a strategic roadmap, not a strategic product roadmap, a strategic roadmap. And there you would say we're going to partner with them. And then once you have got the strategic partnership going, you would then look at, so if you've taken that approach, there could be multiple ways of doing it. One-to-one integration. You can also create a platform and have any IoT vendor come and sit on that platform, and you were providing the integrations to them. So you've created a platform, created an open platform, open architecture, and you can connect to their devices. Now, again, you have to understand devices are a little more nuanced. They're not going to have APIs, they're going to have a firmware. So you need to ensure that your platform acknowledges those firmwares. Or if you want to connect to their platform, because mostly what I understand by the IoT devices is that your device pairs directly to the device through some cloud mechanisms, or I do not understand all of it. But before even if I jump into the how part, all I'm saying is you will have a strategic plan and a roadmap, and then you will take it down and turn it into a product roadmap. That would be your roadmap. So I'm going to, directly have a one-on-one relationship with Wipro, and I'm talking about integrations, one-on-one with Philips, one-on-one with whatever. Or I'm going to create approach is I'm going to create a platform that would be vendor agnostic, because you've kind of looked at all the vendors that are out there, and you're ensuring that the platform can take that. So that's like a app foundry or a app marketplace kind of thing that you're building, and any IoT vendor can come and become part of your marketplace, right? So those are different strategies. We'll have different roadmaps, different ways of attacking the market. I still see M's hands up. M, you want to ask a question? Anyone else wants to ask a question? We can take one more question. Nope. Good then, Vishal. I don't think we have any more questions.
Yeah, I can see that. Let me just quickly share my screen. All right, I think that's all. Thank you so much, Anand, for delivering a brilliant session. It was really great and thought-provoking insights. I really like the point wherein, someone asked about, on the process of while hiring, how a product manager would ask the clarifying questions before coming to a solutions approach. So I really like that point. Thank you so much, Anand, for sharing a lot of insights on that. And with this, it's been a complete pleasure. Please accept this certificate of appreciation from the institute. Once you scan the QR code, it will lead you to the dedicated Hall of Fame page created for you. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you. Just send it over to me. I'll have a look at it.
Absolutely, we'll do that. We'll do that, Anand.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, guys. Again, by the way, this leads you to the next discussion by Arun, which would be on idea to prototype. If you have listened to me, well, you would be able to now take your thoughts and ideas that we have discussed to actually building a product. Great. Have a good one. All the best, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Anand. So before folks, before you leave, I would like to give a quick announcement over here. At IPL, we strongly believe in learning by doing approach, and with this, I'm also making a quick announcement of our upcoming event planned this 9th April on Idea to Prototype with generative AI. And I believe that what the session which Anand spoke, I think it will be very much aligned if you be a part of this event. Requesting everyone who is looking forward to know more about it, please do register from the given link in the chat box. Okay, I think it's already being pasted. Thank you so much. So, well, finally, the moment, right, I want to thank each and everyone for giving us your valuable time. And I'm sure you have had a fruitful time at the session. And I really look forward to hosting you in the near future. Okay, I'm pausing here for a moment, in case if you guys can give a Google review as well as a Quora review. We'll pause for 30 seconds, not beyond than that. Requesting you all to just scan the QR code and give the feedback about how did you like the overall module of the class. Probably any feedback, or you would want us to probably work on something, please do let me know. Thank you. Okay, on that note, I end today's session. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.